I grew in a family that never knew God. So I end up doing many bad things as a youth. I knew my life was in a very bad place.
Well, I'm from the Chicagoland area, northwest suburbs.
I was born, raised, and grazed in Chicago.
I'm from California. My wife and I both grew up there.
I grew up in a Christian family, and we went to church every Sunday.
We were quite happy. We were attending a church that we really loved.
I often had the fun of laying out in the grass as a little kid watching airplanes. And I wondered to myself, where are those guys going? Where have they been? What have they seen?
I got to go on my first airplane ride in Cessna Cardinal. I'm in the right seat and he's in the left, and I'm flying over my house. And if that doesn't get an 11-year-old excited about aviation, I don't know what will.
And it became a childhood dream of mine to become a pilot someday.
We thought about being missionaries, but probably later on in life, maybe as a retirement thing.
I decided to go to Iowa State University and go into aerospace engineering. After my first year, I came back home, and here there's a missionary at our church speaking about the fact that he's working in aviation. And I didn't really know that existed until then.
When I was in high school, a friend of mine brought me to a place where a missionary pilot was speaking.
So finally I thought God must be talking to me about something. And I spent the next semester at Iowa State praying about what I should do, if God was trying to lead me somewhere else. And as it turned out, I really felt His leading to go into mission aviation.
I had the fun of being a co-captain on a Learjet for several years. And while I was flying for that corporation, I got a call from a friend of mine who was out here. And he said, "Jim, what are you doing? We need pilots over here in Africa. Would you come out?"
Well, while I was in college, I had a chance to actually come here to this hangar and to see the operation here and what AMER does.
And I thought to myself, 100 years from now, if God ever asked me, why didn't you go to Africa when you had the chance, what would I answer him?
I came back here with my wife before the birth of our first son, and we checked the place out. It was such a difficult decision for her to come here full time because of leaving family and friends that we just kind of put it on hold.
But God just sort of changed our hearts.
And the answers to the question that I could come up with were all selfish ones. I had a good salary, I had a good job, I had a good future in the States, but it was all about me.
We're about ready to put down 5 years of payment on a car, and we both looked at each other and realized, no, this is our time. We're supposed to go now. And God just got a hold of us right then, and we started applying to AIM full-time.
So finally in 1997, we sold our house, we quit our jobs, and we moved to Africa.
And I think it's been one of the most rewarding decisions that my wife and I have ever made.
But one day I went to church, and the missionary was preaching in the book of Matthew, "Come to me, those who are burdened, and I will give you rest." So I thought, is this really true? So that day I prayed, "God, I have a lot of burden. Can you really take my burden and relieve me?"
My ministry is a mechanic and a missionary. What I'm trying to do is keep these airplanes safe and reliable so that we can take these frontline missionaries where they need to go and help them do what they need to do. We work with a lot of good people here, with a lot of good equipment that the Lord has allowed us to have. The AMER hangar is just a normal concrete and steel hangar that's located on a busy airport in a busy African city. It's a place where our crew works together in camaraderie and we strive for excellence. This place is where I use my gifts and skills to serve a work that I may never see firsthand. This is where my ministry
meets mine. The work of an AMER pilot is simply that of a servant. Missionary aviation is a way to combine what I have found to be a love for flying, a love for being around airplanes, with doing something that's pretty important. On a daily basis, I get to go out into remote areas and serve people that the Bible would describe as men and women of whom the world is not worthy. Out there on the front lines, living in some extremely difficult areas. Most of the airstrips in which we land and take off at are mud, dirt, grass. The airstrip is the culmination of my day, where my gifts and skills have brought me and my load of supplies to serve a work that I can only catch a glimpse of. This is the place where my ministry
meets mine. The airstrip is in my backyard. It's a doorway, a link between our remote village and the rest of the world. It's an avenue for transportation and supplies and a contingency plan in case of an emergency. So our goal here is to spend time with the Samburu people, get to know them, understand their culture, and our ultimate goal is to lead them to Jesus. Now we know that they're a nomadic group of people, and so they tend to pass information through stories, and that's the method we use. We go through the Bible using stories.
I didn't believe, such a thing can become so much involved in our lives that it changed us even.
It's been exciting to see what God has done here since we've been here. We've seen our church grow, we've seen people change their lives. This church represents what God is doing all over Africa, joined by countless missionaries like myself. In countless places, where a little stretch of runway set beside a remote village provides an open door to bring help and the good news of Jesus Christ to people in need.
wanadamu ya kama kawaida. Iye akiba kutokana wote.
I grew in a family that never knew God. My brothers, my mom. So I know many people around, many Samburu who don't know about love. But my privilege is to tell them, to make sure that each of them hears the word of the news, that they will turn and become a word of God. Because my mother is now Christian, my wife, and one of my brothers.
Our ministry is not about what we do.
The heart of our ministry is in joining God in what He's doing in Africa.
What He is doing in Africa and in the lives of the African people.